This is episode 3 of the Annecast. I'm Whooper, and here's Mario.
Hello, guys.
We're going to start off with episodes 31 to 35, and after that, you're going to hear us talk about episodes 36 to 40. We haven't seen that group yet, so we'll start off with the first five that I mentioned. And this
Yep.
is taking us from, well, I was about to kind of summarize the period of time that these five episodes were covering, but the thing is, episode 31, the first of the group, is dedicated to its own little individual story.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes it difficult to give you a concrete time period. A lot of these episodes are about Anne taking extra classes to eventually try to test into Queen's Academy and fulfill
Yep.
her dream of becoming a teacher. But not episode 31. So do you want to
Yep.
start with that one, Mario, or should we just
I
take things more generally?
no. We gonna start with that one, but I just gonna add that normally like Anna Grable spend a lot of time, like staying in one specific season. Because this is like the kind of slideshow that really want to tell the story of of Anne's going through her everyday life. For the last five episodes, we actually go jump through a lot of seasons. So we jump to winter in like one episode, and then the next one is like 3 episodes have passed. Sorry, 3 months have passed, and all that. But yet, like Whooper say, we're gonna stick to number 31 because this is like one off story, which is kind of really fun from start to finish. I really enjoyed that episode. How about you, Whooper?
Yeah, I liked it as well. It is kind of an odd duck.
It
Um,
is.
it doesn't have much to do with any of the surrounding episodes or
Yep.
I don't know plot threads or anything. The narrator at the start of episode 31 was kind enough to remind us of what had just happened in
Yep.
episode 30 when Anne dyed her hair green.
Yep.
And it's interesting that she did that because at a couple points in this group of five episodes, it's, like Mrs. Lind or another character will remark on the fact that Anne has, like, uh, her looks have improved as she's gotten older.
Mhm.
But in episode 30, apparently that was far enough back in time that Anne wasn't satisfied with the way she looked, so she had to dye her hair green.
Yep.
Anyway, it that all grows out. She gets her trademark red hair back, and she and the other members of the story club, the recently established story club, are playing. What are they playing? Elaine, which is the
Yep.
name of a book about a doomed romance between the title character and a prince of some kind, right?
Uh, Lancelot, I think
Okay.
they mentioned that name.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's set in like Arthurian legend, I suppose.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, so Anne volunteers to be Elaine, some character who dies and is sent out to sea on a boat, looking very peaceful. Um, and so she lays down in a boat, and the other girls kick it off into the middle of a river where it drifts, and it's supposed to be very romantic and everything, but instead it ends up being a disaster because there's a hole in the boat and it fills with water, and Anne doesn't seem to be
Yep.
able to swim.
Yep. I
And
love
so that
every
event
little
and
detail
its
on that.
aftermath make up the entirety of episode 31, and it's very much its own thing. And it,
Yeah.
it is, yeah, it's pretty amusing. But then there is a little development between Anne and another character that will probably have some ripple effects in the future.
Yeah. Gilbert, by the way.
Yes,
And
Gilbert
I
Blythe.
actually,
I can't really do
yeah.
Anne's voice; it's too hysterical.
All right. I really enjoyed this little moment here, like the way that I'm reciting all the things, and then she actually, like thinking of putting on an act out of that, and that when nobody wanted to, to lie down to that boat. I really love the reaction of this girl. Like there's one girl, I think I don't remember her name.
She the blonde one?
The blonde one. Yep,
That's Ruby
she's
Gillis.
Ruby. She the one who like just shaking her head, says, "No, no, 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 no. I'm
Moody,
afraid.
moody,
No, no,
moody,
no,
moody,
no."
moody, 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 moody.
Yep, yep, yep. Impossible, impossible.
Yeah.
I love her. I help her. So Anne had to be the one who to do that, and she actually played the part really well as well. Played the part of a dead girl who looked really dead. Like all the other girls also comment on that, she looked really like she died.
Yeah.
And then I like the little details of like they try to get the boat forward, but they got stuck on something. And then when the boat get going, we actually can see that there's a crack. So
Right.
yeah, so that's like very attention to details, and then the whole thing afterwards it's just hilarious. It kind of feel bad to see like Queen laughing at all the girls, like crying and hysterical, like acting hysterically, but it kind of fun to see, they get into trouble, got saved by Gilbert, and like Anne doing her little, she just hold the grudge
Yes.
so much because I think how many years have passed since that scene, and actually, like during the scene where like Gilbert called her a carrot, she actually hit him as well, and she never apologized him for that, and she just kind of like, nah, I'm not gonna forgive you for what you did to me, and
Yep.
took off. And she
She
kind of
has a
feel sad about
complex
that as
about
well.
her red hair.
Yeah, 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 true. So like the whole episode is actually pretty nice. It for people uh who not enjoy the slow episode like that, I think they can just take them a while to get into the story. But for me, it's really enjoyable from start to finish.
Well, I think the thing that makes the episode a success is the fact that it is so slow.
Yeah,
Like the discussion between the girls about who is going to play Elaine, and even before that, the recounting of the Elaine story. While they're, I
yeah,
think they begin the episode by fishing,
yeah, yeah.
and
That's right.
Anne is recounting the story
Yeah,
somehow, and they get on the subject of reenacting it and how it's going to be so great for their club and everything. You have to get all that dialogue and all of the little character moments for like Ruby and Jane, for example,
yeah,
because
yeah,
they will eventually become part of the Queen's class.
yeah,
So they you need those little bits of characterization for them.
yeah,
How the it because it's such a silly thing to set yourself in a boat and pretend that you're going to be dead and just drift down the river. Like what how does it benefit you? The answer is the girls are excited about it. They work themselves up and get excited over it. And the fact that you witness that and can understand it as a result of seeing the whole picture
yeah,
is
yeah,
what makes it fun and what makes it funny. Um,
yeah.
because
And actually, from the
Anna's
girl's
so
point
good
of,
at playing dead that it takes the water
yeah,
a long time to actually start creeping its way into the boat.
yep, yep, yep. That's that as well. And the girls when they see the boat sinking, they were like, "Oh my god, what are we gonna do?" Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's so nice. Oh my,
Yes.
yeah,
It's an odd episode, but I enjoyed it.
yeah,
Um, and there's she does flash back to the moment when Gilbert called her hair, when he called her a carrot. Even though after he rescues her and takes her back to shore, he says, that was then, but now I like your hair.
yeah,
She
yeah,
can't, she hesitates. You can see her kind of mull it over in her head, but she can't accept the compliment because she's still hurt by what he said. I think at
yeah,
this point, like 2.5 years ago or something. By the time we
yeah,
get to episode 35, somebody makes a remark that it's been 3 years
yeah,
since Anne arrived in Avonlea.
yeah.
So,
I remember they and has to go through 3 winters. So yeah, it's 3 years.
mhm. I think the other thing of note in episode 31 is that, uh, you know, Anne goes home and she she says to Marilla, I'm just getting rid of my romantic streak. You know, it's
yeah,
causing me nothing but trouble. I don't need it. I have no use for it. But Matthew encourages her to hold on to it and to keep at least a little bit of it,
yeah, yeah,
which I think is really pleases her because she is romantic at heart.
yeah,
You know, very imaginative and you know, fanciful.
yeah,
So she can give speeches and give a whole performance about how she won't be so romantic anymore, but really that's who she is. So to hear that validated by, you know, her father figure is important for her.
yeah, yeah. All right.
And that is
Moving
episode
away.
31.
Yeah, moving away to episode 32. We got another let's say episode where Anne and Dinah come to meet Aunt Josephine.
Right. And they go to the Charlottetown exhibition.
Yeah, I enjoy of that. The one thing that I feel a bit not to my enjoyment is Aunt Josephine now she become a bit too one-sided. Uh, she the first time that we see her, she actually kind of annoyed by Anne and Dinah, and I actually like that dynamic. I prefer that dynamic more than now when she just like kind of supportive of the two girls, and you know a little bit of tears when they got, and her thinking at the end that if she have someone like Anne in her life, her life would be much more happier. It was a bit too much again.
Yeah,
What
you're
about
on a
you?
real roll with saying stuff is a bit too much. If we include this most recent instance, but also the podcast that we just recorded about some
Yeah.
anime film from 2024.
I, I
Um,
I had my
what's up?
limit, it just kind of touched in my limit of like to be over, just be over, to be a bit too much.
Well, I mean, I would say that the counter to that, at least for me, is yes, it's true that her relationship with Anne is very smoothed out in
Hmm.
this episode. She doesn't end up like reprimanding her for anything. She's very happy to see her. But there is some tension between Aunt Josephine's way of life and Anne's way of thinking. Aunt
Yep,
Josephine's very wealthy,
yep,
and when
yep,
Anne sees all the many rooms in her house, I mean, it's probably more like a manor, honestly.
yep,
She goes into all those rooms and sees all the expensive things that are you know held within them and that are decorating them. She thinks to herself like, "There's no scope for imagination here," and
yep,
that's kind of the metric that she uses to evaluate everything, is
yep,
whether there's
yep,
any scope
sure,
for imagination.
yep,
So you know, I don't think that she and Aunt Josephine see eye to eye on everything.
yep,
And there's
yep,
also
I
the
agree.
fact that when Aunt Josephine, you know, sends her away and thinks to herself, "Oh, I would be a better woman if I had a girl like Anne in my life." I mean, that is kind of a saccharine thought. But at the same time, think about the reverse of it. It means something is missing from her life,
Yep,
and
yep,
you know, that's a bitter feeling to watch someone go, to watch someone leave that you wish um, were closer to you. You
yep,
know, and I hope that now that we've at this point, you know, we're talking about episode 32, but now that we've seen episode 35, we've got 15 more, and I would hope that you know Aunt Josephine would recur once again for like a third appearance,
yep,
maybe a fourth appearance,
yep,
and we would get you know whatever payoff is waiting for us after hearing her you know express that thought to herself.
yep. I don't know how closely Charlottetown and Queens uh, school is that at Queen as well. How close they are compared to each other, because they are both like in the city, right?
Yeah, I would think so because the idea of going to Queen's Academy is kind of tied up with the idea of being a city girl.
Yep, yep,
That's a thought that Diana has. Like when she goes to this exhibition in this episode here, she and she and Anne have a conversation with Aunt Josephine about what they think of, what they think about, everything they've just seen and the weekend they've just spent. Um, Diana says, this trip has revealed to me that I'm a city girl at heart. So I
Mhm.
guess Queen's Academy is in the city. I don't know.
Yep, yep, yep. Right.
I did
But yeah,
like seeing the names of like various Avonlea
yep,
residents,
yep, yep.
uh,
I agree. Me
like
too.
that they had won a particular contest because there were a whole bunch of contests. Like Josie Pye, for example, won for knitted lace,
Yep,
and she's the rival character, for Anne,
yep,
or I guess that's Gilbert technically, but Josie is another minor antagonist. And
yep,
despite that, Anne seeing that she's won is quite happy about it. It
yep,
just goes to show that she really feels as though she belongs in Avonlea because she has regional pride, even
yep,
for someone who she doesn't like very much.
yep. I agree. Like even us, when we know the name of some of these, in the tag, we was like, yeah, yay for
Yeah.
Everly. Even though we
Yeah.
only, we never met them. We only see them in the last 30 episodes. We just feel like we spent time with them as well. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice detail.
yeah.
Um,
I love the way that they met one of the lady. I don't remember her name, but she
that's
won the
that's
first prize.
Rachel Lind,
Oh yeah, and then
Mrs. Lind.
Mrs. Lin, when she comment about, I don't go to see racehorse because this is, something indecent about that, or
Yeah.
something along that line.
Yeah,
Uh,
you can tell that Avonlea is kind of a conservative town.
yep,
So the racetrack, horse racing being something that a lot of people would bet on, that would
yep,
be definitely frowned upon by stricter sects of Christianity.
yep, yep.
Um,
Oh well,
so yeah, she makes that little comment, which is pretty amusing. And Aunt Josephine's reaction to it kind of indicates that she is perhaps more on the progressive side.
yep, yep, yep.
She Well,
Is that
I don't know. I
is
mean,
that
she has a
so?
lot of money, so
Yep.
usually people with tons of money they lean conservative because they want to keep all their money and not pay taxes. But at the very least, she's less beholden to like religious ideas.
Yep, yep. All right. What is the next episodes?
Did you say
So
what's the next one?
yeah. Oh, you have
Uh,
any other note on 32? Sorry.
no. Oh yes, yeah. Okay, you remember the bagpipe track that's played in a whole bunch of episodes up till now? Like even the
Yeah.
episode where Matthew has to go to that store, he wants to buy a dress for Anne.
Yep, yep, yep,
And he tries to muster up his courage to ask the like very fashionable sales girl about
yep.
dresses, and like bagpipes start to play in the background,
Uh,
like he's
yep, yep,
going to
yep, yep, yep.
war. So in episode 32, we finally see actual bagpipe players on screen as that track
Right.
plays. There's a procession of like I don't know, Scottish musicians, I suppose, as
Okay.
part of the Charlottetown exhibition. And finally, it's not just random bagpipes playing out of nowhere. Suddenly, as of episode 20 something in Anne of Green Gables, they have a source now. So I was gratified to see that.
Okay. Yep, that's
Very
interesting.
important. Very important, crucial, plot point. The whole series is going to
Ye-
hinge on it.
All right. Episode 33 is about Anne and Dinah having a fight against each other for quite some time. And then Anne realized that she eat a poison apples and feeling that she about to die, so she write a bunch of like dying letters to um, to Dinah and to I think to Marilla,
Yeah,
and then and then realize that she did die.
right.
Okay,
That was a very silly
yeah,
development.
cherry,
But
cherry.
she's prone to getting carried away, so that's the sort of trickery that might work on her.
Yep, yep, yep,
One thing that I was interested in, like just a minor bit of speculation, I suppose, is that
yep,
the fight that Anne and Diana have is about their differing ideas for their future. You know, Anne still remembers the promise that they made to be old maids together and you know live as roommates forever, I suppose.
yep,
Whereas Diana is leaning more towards you know the idea of being someone's wife, like thinking about her future long term,
yep.
entering into a partnership with someone. And so I wonder if it's a coincidence that in this episode, Jerry Boot, the hired hand who tricks Anne with the story
Yep,
about the rat poisoned apple,
yep.
he this is his biggest role in any of the 33 episodes up to that point. And it comes right after Diana is like, "Well, you know, what's so bad about getting married? I don't know if I want to be like a an old maid." So is it possible that the show kind of bringing Jerry Boot to prominence here is not a coincidence, given that conversation between the two girls? Is he going to become like a love interest?
At the moment, I don't think so. At the moment, I think he just like kind of like the side characters because I don't see a squash of chemistry between Cherry to Anne or Cherry to Diana for that matter. I
Well,
think
yeah, you say for the moment. That's true
yeah,
for the moment. I
I
just
think
wonder if it's not a if the timing is not a coincidence.
yeah, I think it's more like Anne and Schubert gonna be, like they have something in the future. But
Yes, that's
remember that the fight that Anne and Dinah has in this episode is more about Schubert, not
no.
about
He's just brought up at kind of at the end when
yeah,
Diana
and
says like you're being petty for not accepting his apology.
yeah, and then I was like, storm off and like we are no friend, we are friend no more,
Yeah.
ending the relationship now. Oh my god,
Yeah, she doesn't play when it comes to Gilbert. I mean, she's even said to Diana, that's like uh,
you hurt my
apologizing to
feeling.
him or accepting his apology or having anything to do with him. That's Diana, I would die for you, but please don't make me be nice to Gilbert. That's the one thing I just can't do.
Yeah, oh boy,
Apparently, that's still the case.
yeah. After how many years, oh boy.
Yeah, nearly 3 at that point.
But yeah, that's a good point that you bring up there. Like I'm not so sure if Cherry gonna be like a permanent practice in the future, but I see more as of that as well.
Well, especially because of what happens with Matthew in episode 35.
Yeah,
Jerry
yeah,
will have more work to do. That's another kind of door opening, I suppose, for him to take a bigger role. But, you know, that's just a thought that occurred to me. If Anne is going to be going off to Queen's Academy, he probably will not be following her.
yeah. That's true. Yep. I think Anne and Gilbert make a very nice couple, and I think the show have been hinting about that for a while now, especially I think in one segment in episode 35 where where there's a narration about like despite the fact that and there's so basically telling about Anne monologue about her feeling, her conflicted feeling with Gilbert and the way she behaved that day.
Yeah, you're talking about the narrator, right? When the
Yep, yep,
narrator
yep,
kind
yep,
of gives us insight into how Anne actually feels about Gilbert.
yep, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they're a nice couple. I've always wanted to be in a relationship with someone who smashed a chalkboard over my head.
All right.
It's pretty
Um,
hot.
so you are that type, hey. But yeah.
Yes, I'm sure that they are the destined couple, you know.
And
And you know, we have seen the characters age. You know, it's been subtle
yeah,
because
yeah. Mm,
we've seen 3 years pass now over the course of 35 episodes. And I don't know if such close attention to detail is being paid that the designs are being altered on an episode by episode basis. I would suspect not. But
Hmm.
still we are seeing like periodic adjustments to their designs. And Gilbert is now like he's tall, he's broad-shouldered, he's good looking.
Yep. Hmm.
And people are making, as you know, referenced earlier, various characters are making reference to the fact that Anne is becoming more and more fetching, let's say, better and better
Yep.
looking.
Yep.
So, you know, who perhaps they'll become like the power couple of Avonlea, especially if they're both going to Queens at the same time.
Yep. So that's the new plot development, as well as there is a subclass of uh, of people who wanted to go to Queens, and had been been invited to attend a class because he wanted to be a teacher in the future.
Yes. And I think those classes begin in episode 34. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the only of so there are seven. There are seven students who take those extra classes. Diana is not one of them,
Yep.
as she's. It's not just that her parents are preventing her from taking the classes. She herself is not really interested in becoming a teacher
Yep.
or pursuing further education, and she expresses that in her own letter to Anne after she reads, I suppose, the letter born of the rat poison incident.
Yep.
And the none of the characters are actually new, but one of them has only been referenced in dialogue before, and that's Moody Spurgeon. He's
Uh,
the boy who he has like a kind of a buck tooth,
yep.
and
Yep.
he
Yep.
has a little like handkerchief wrapped around his neck.
Yep.
He you know, Anne a couple times has said to Diana, "Oh, I heard that you went home with Moody Spurgeon, or he walked you home from school or from church or something like that," as a way to get under Diana's skin.
Yep.
So
Yep.
apparently Moody Spurgeon is into Diana, and we already know Charlie Sloane has a crush
Yep.
on Anne.
Yep.
So, you know, and of course Gilbert is the apple of all the girls' eye, their
Yep.
eyes, you know, because in the blizzard at the end of episode 34,
Yep.
he's like so cool under pressure. He just knows exactly what to do, and he's
Yep.
leading the charge when the three boys go out there and
Yep.
are,
It
you know,
it's a nice,
he's just a cool guy. He's too
yeah,
cool.
it's a nice performance from him. Like every girl, including the teacher, like Cole over there waiting for the boys to get back, and they back, and he's the one who riding the horse, and the carriage to bring them back home. So yeah, he's the hero. He's
Yes. So I wonder if there will be some conflict between Anne and, you know, Ruby or
Gilbert.
Jane or
Uh,
Josie over Gilbert at some point in the future.
I think so. I think there will be. I
It's
think there will
possible.
be an episode where like all the other girls are like uh heads over heels for Gilbert, and they fighting to maybe getting his attention, and then Anne will get involved in some way.
Maybe she'll be drowning in the middle of a river again.
Yeah, yeah, that
Or
happened.
maybe in order to get his attention, she'll set it up. Round two.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think if it's going to be
So
any of those characters who are like into Gilbert and competing with Anne for his attention a little bit, it'll probably be Ruby, the
yeah,
blonde girl who is always crying
yeah.
and everything. Because
I
she,
love I love the way her crying in episode 31.
yeah,
I feel she very annoying in episode 34 when like everything. What if they haven't come back?
right,
We will
yeah.
be doomed. Wah, 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 wah. And get a
Yeah,
snap out.
speaking
Yeah,
of hysterics, she's a hysterical character.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but her character design is also, I think
A
she's
lot
meant to be the
lively, right?
prettiest
Right.
of all
Yeah,
the girls. She has like one little eyelash on
yeah,
each of her eyes, and her face is kind of heart shaped. She has blonde hair. You
yeah,
know, not that blonde people are the most beautiful by default, but I think that's often a shorthand that character designers use to indicate that a character is like, I don't
Yeah,
know, sought after,
yeah. Ugly characters will be red hairs.
right? As the show has
So
taught us.
yeah, oh boy.
I also, moving away from Ruby, there was a the seven members of the Queen's, or
Yep.
is it just the girls?
There are four girls and three boys.
Yeah, it is all seven of them now that I think about it, because Moody says he wants to be a minister, Charlie a politician, and Gilbert. What does he
Yeah.
say about his motivation for taking the class?
Gilbert. Uh, he doesn't give any explanation because it's from the point of view of Anne, who recall the story uh, to Marina and Matthew.
That's
And
right.
when Marina asked her about so what Gilbert like to do, she was like, I don't know about anything about Gilbert.
Right. That's right. Yeah, I do remember Jane Andrews, who in the past I think has been referenced as the girl who's like most interested in relationships and dating and marriage.
Right.
Now she has a different perspective. She wants to become a teacher because teachers earn a salary, and that means you get money. But if you're married, you're not getting shit from your husband.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
if you try to get some of the egg and butter money, he's just going to growl at you. So that's an
Very, very,
interesting
very
change of
specific.
opinion from her.
Yep. 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 And then we have Josie Pike, right? Who's want to be a teacher for like 1 or 2 years and then get married. Oh, it's a Ruby.
That may have been Ruby. I think what Josie says, rather snobbishly, is that she is only pursuing education for education's sake because she doesn't need to
All right.
work. I think her family's
Right.
probably wealthy.
Right. 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 Yeah. 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 Well, that fit into their characters, so
Yep. I did find that the blizzard was kind of like it wasn't
out
there
of
wasn't
nowhere.
even a cliffhanger. It was just I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. God was bored and he was like, "Okay, blizzard in Avonlea. Just a real quick one. Just real
Yeah.
fast." And then it lets up and I mean, I'm sure that the hours passed quite slowly for everybody who was trapped in the schoolhouse,
Yeah.
and for the boys who had to go out into like brave the elements. But in terms of the presentation of the episode, it seemed to like come and go.
Yeah. It's had to be compact in like the one episodes because I think the episode before that is a fall, and then the episode after that is a spring or something. So they're just one episode of winter here, and it's a blizzard, and then it's gone. The next episodes.
Is episode 35 set in spring? I'm trying to think about. Yeah, I
I'm pretty sure
guess.
that it's not in winter anymore. So
Yeah,
because
because Matthew is working outside, and that's when he
yeah
gets
he
those
had
chest pains.
yeah yeah, and that's kind of funny. Not funny, but interesting as well because out of the two, Marina and Matthew, I always thought that if someone getting sick and passing, that would be Marina. But now we have like another news where Matthew having his heart attack, and it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, Marilla does have those headaches,
Yeah,
but for Matthew, it's apparently his heart,
yeah,
and that is that's especially after in one of these episodes, in episode 33,
hmm
there's a conversation around the dinner table where Marilla is talking to Anne about potentially studying to get into Queen's Academy. And
yep,
she says, I believe in a young woman being able to support herself because you don't know what's going to happen in life. And as
yep,
long as Matthew and I are here, you'll have a place at Green Gables, but you can't predict the future. And
yep,
that's kind of an ominous way to phrase things. As long as Matthew and I are here.
yeah,
Hopefully, we
yeah,
do not enter a situation where both of them die.
yeah.
Please let us keep one, at
I
least one, preferably two.
Yeah, I really love the way that uh, the way Marilas and Matthew involved in this kind of episode. In episode 34 or 33, it's Marilla who tell Anne about that dynamics at her own perspective, and that Anne never really trying to learn about dynamic motivation, what her preference is like. And
Hmm.
in this episode, it's Matthew who kind of like tell Anne just encourage Anne to do her own thing. Like he said very little, but everything that he said, is really heartwarming in a way.
Yeah, he's not great with words, but
Yeah, he get to the point.
he's able to get his point across,
Yeah,
even if everything he says begins with "sosa no."
yeah, yeah. It's a. I'm not sure if I want to play his role in terms of like his voice acting because I have to always start with so Sano
Well, at
Uri.
least you'd be able to get every single line started. You'd never miss one completely.
That's right.
Oh, speaking of lines,
Yep,
I think I noticed Anne said use a new word for the first time in episode 35, and that word was eto, which in Japanese means like It's a kind of a
yep.
filler word. Usually
Uh-huh.
when she talks, she is so eloquent.
Verbose. Yep,
Yeah, and she can just keep talking and talking and never stop and always knows the next thing to say. But when she's
yep,
talking about what she's going to do on her summer vacation in episode 35, she says, I'm going to go to Ruby's birthday party, and then there's the Sunday school picnic next month, and then there's the missionary concert, and uh
yep.
so it just stuck out to me immediately. I like something in my brain. Did she just
Yeah.
say Because I'd never heard her talk like a human being before, really. But
Yeah.
here she is. Maybe it's because her brain is full of geometry.
Well, I think she just her her message is that wants she doesn't want anything to do with study for the next 2 months, 3 months, and she doesn't really think ahead of what she gonna do. So that's why like she tried to thinking of like what the activities she gonna do. So I think it's a good way in a way.
I mean,
And
she's so averse to studying that she locks her books in a trunk in the attic.
yeah, and as he even say that also there's no scope for imagination when you just stuck for study. So I just gotta lock it out,
It's true. I wonder if they get a full 3 months of summer vacation, like at this point.
or maybe just yeah, or maybe just skip to the next episode. 3 minutes pass.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, you may be right because we are getting to the point now with only 15 episodes left where Anne needs to actually go off to school and like pursue higher education.
I
And
Yeah, I
I
don't know
assume
where
that after that point, she'll return to Avonlea and there will be more to the story still.
really. All right,
So we might have to skip summer
because
vacation. Personally, I would just
I
love 5 more episodes like this where we get to see her little adventures, but
yeah,
we might not be able to do that.
yeah. Honestly, I don't know where how far the story gonna go because I haven't reached the book or know about any of these adaptation beforehand. So
Well,
yeah,
it's on Prince Edward Island. That's where the series is set. Avonlea is not a real place, but Prince
yeah,
Edward Island is a real place, and that's where the story is set. So I don't know how big Prince Edward Island is. I assume
yeah,
it's small enough,
yeah.
uh,
No, no.
being an
I
island.
just yeah. I just mean in terms of story wise. I don't know how long it's gonna go from now.
Oh, I thought you were
Uh,
talking about geography. Sorry.
yeah, no. Yeah, I mean more about the story. So I'm not sure if we're supposed to get into her getting into the college, see her going back to Everdale, or it's gonna stop somewhere in the middle. Either way, I'm looking forward uh, to finding out. I'm enjoying every bit of the show as it is now.
Yep. Same here. It's To me, every episode is a home run,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Episode 35, even though it comes with, the bad news of Matthew's, I don't know if you would call it a heart condition, but his health issues.
yeah.
That's bad news. But then to counter that, you get the beach scene where Anne and Diana go to the beach, and it's mostly just like a wordless montage of them having fun, finding seashells and running
Mm,
along the edge of the water and laughing together and lying in the sand and
yeah.
just a really really excellently placed scene, I think, because after the breakup of their friendship in episode 33 and the very clear demarcation of their paths kind of diverging, them going their
Mm,
separate ways in terms of their visions for their future in episode 34, we get this moment in episode 35 where we don't even need words to see the strength of their bond.
yeah,
And it's like a reassurance to everyone in the audience, like nothing here is broken, nothing here is unfixable. They're still the best of friends, and they always will
yeah,
be because they renewed
yeah,
their vows.
yeah. And I love the way that one of these uh one of the misses going to visit. I don't remember her name either. Sorry. Uh, and at first I thought that when Marilla tell her about Matthew heart condition, she gonna like flip out when she saw Anne just saying that by the
Oh,
way, yeah, I
that was
I was
Rachel Lind again, the same woman who
oh
said that horse racing
sorry,
was,
yeah, I keep
evil or
forget
whatever.
yeah, I keep forgetting her name. Yeah, at that point, I was afraid that she gonna just tell Anne without knowing that yeah, seeing that Matthew is in the best shape, it's good to have you and Marilla staying at home cooking for him now. That's something along that line.
Yeah, I
But
thought the same thing.
Marilla just maybe Marilla just know about our thoughts, so that she told her right away that uh we don't tell Anne about Matthew condition yet,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
Marilla has a good head on her
that's
shoulders.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
I'm sure she will be able to cut off that possibility before it could emerge.
Yeah, 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 true. So yep, I agree with you. The last five episodes, and even like I don't even know if there is any bad episodes in this show that we have seen so far. So yeah, it just a really great show to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
Yep.
Hedy and Anne, for now, I would say that I still prefer Hedy, even though that it's less consistent than the show.
Mm, I see.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do the comparison when we finish with Anne
I
to
don't know that
see.
I'm interested in comparing them.
Yeah, all right.
I think they can each be perfect in their own
Yeah,
ways.
yeah,
That's assuming that there isn't some sort of nosedive on the horizon over the next three
right.
months as we finish up this series.
I doubt it, but we only get like two-thirds of the show for now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right. Well, now that we've talked
cool.
about these 5 episodes, we're going to go ahead and talk about episodes 36 to 40.
Yep. And we come to the second part of this podcast covering episode 36 to 40 of Anne of the Green Gables. Whooper, have you noticed any change in this batch of 5 episodes for Anne?
Well, you know that I have. I know that you have. The biggest change in Anne's character design for sure has has occurred, I guess, has descended upon the show in this group of
Yeah,
5 episodes here. But the show itself also changes quite a lot because it becomes very singularly focused on Anne's school life. Or perhaps it's not even
yeah,
accurate to say school life. It's just an exam that the show centers
Mhm.
around for many episodes, like maybe 3 or even 4 of these episodes.
Yep. I kind of enjoy that. Um, they always the show always have this like real life, you know, where we get on to like certain aspect of Anne's life to see how she going, and this is like the time where like she just busy doing like all the exams and care about if she whether she get into the college. So and appropriately, this is all we get.
What do you mean this is all we got?
Oh, it's not all, but like her mind is occupied of the exam.
Oh, I see what
So
you're saying.
like yeah, we got a good chunk of that. Just have seeing her worry about the exam.
When you said this is all we get, I thought that was like a way of you expressing dissatisfaction. We
No,
didn't get
no, no, no,
enough.
no,
This is
no,
all
no,
we get?
no,
But you were talking about
no.
we get so much of it. This is all we
Literally,
get.
yeah,
This is all we
yeah,
get.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's correct.
Yeah, the
I
subtleties of the English language are annoying. Yeah.
and
So should we start with episode 36, or do you want to
yeah,
just like bounce
yep.
around?
No, let's go with episode 36.
All right. Well, I mean, the very first sentence that I have in my notes for episode 36 is this was maybe the first episode in the show's entire run that I didn't really care for.
Yep, yep. I can see that because it's about the story club, and it's about sorry, um, how they want to disband, and then I just overheard all the conversation and be really upset about that.
Yeah. It's
But it doesn't really have any consequences at all, Then I just upset about that, but she still be friends with all of these girls
yeah, but I mean,
at the end of it.
the dissolution of the story club does effectively contribute to the theme of the episode, which is aging, right? Like there's a scene where
Yep.
Anne and Diana go to
Mm.
Idlewild, which was that little grove of birch trees where they used to have tea parties and
Yep.
stuff when they were younger, and all those
Yep. Yep.
trees have
Yep.
been
Yep.
cut
Yep.
down. Of course, that symbolizes like, you know, uh, something from their childhood that they can never get back, and it's like a almost a loss of
Yep.
innocence.
Yep.
And
I li-
there's also a discussion of like both Marilla and Matthew's health troubles. Marilla
Yep.
even gets glasses in this episode to see if that will help
Yep.
her headaches to subside. And so that's also part of the aging process. They're involved in the in that theme as well.
I love all these little details. Like when they get back to the Idlewild, we can still remember the episode where they where they're playing in that, and you see like all of these scatters stuff
Like
that
teacups and things.
yeah, they put in there. So, and even like the moment where she and just look at Marilla wearing glass, which is like still a bit weird for her, a bit weird for us as well to see that. It just I think the episode captured that. It just nearly flawless.
Hmm. I mean it does have a strong central theme. Something about this
Mhm.
episode though, man, I can't really put my finger on it. I do have a note about like the conclusion, the final shot. It's where
Yep.
Anne leaves the house to go and get Matthew. I can't remember
Right.
why she wanted to go and get him.
Yep. Oh, and this is the to see the sunset, right?
Right. And the narrator says she feels that she's matured that day. Um, the way that the music is spliced is a little bit awkward, and the fact that she doesn't go and like talk to Matthew and just kind of turns and looks at the sunset. I wasn't really satisfied with the way the episode concluded,
I
and
agree.
I don't know. It was fine. It was a fine episode, but many episodes of the show in the past I've been like over the moon about.
Great.
and
yeah,
this one just seemed rather ordinary to me, perhaps.
yeah. I would imagine that, when they announce a new ends with like only 24 episode, I think. I I think like, like what kind of story that would get chopped off from, from the 1979 version that we got. And when I think about that, I just think like a lot of these episodes can be chopped off because this is the one that really focus on her everyday life, and it can get really slow and light on plot, but what we get is like the sense of, like of her really living
Right.
in the Green Gables.
Yeah.
And yep. And for me, the new and not gonna be that way. It's gonna be go through all of these and important points. So
Well, we have to reserve judgment. We don't know anything about
yeah,
it, you
all
know.
right.
It it hasn't come out.
Right, all right, all right.
Uh but yeah, perhaps an episode like this one, which is more thematic than it is plot driven, might
Yeah,
not might not make it. They might just kind of fold a couple elements from this episode, or the events of this episode at least, whatever part of it exists in the novel. They might fold it into the whole exam story.
yeah, yeah.
But it should, like, the sorts of episodes that are going to get cut, quote unquote, are the ones, like, for example, when the story club decides who's going to play Elaine and get lay down
Mm.
in the boat and get pushed out into the river, and then
Well,
Gilbert
we
is
do
going to
have,
have to rescue
yeah,
whoever it
we
is.
do have that one big action out there because this is like uh, the conversation between Gilbert and Anne, and Anne decided not to, um,
Accept his offer of
to,
friendship.
yep, yep, that's correct. So that actually kind of important
Yeah,
to their relationship,
yeah, you're right.
So
It's just that in that episode there was a strong, like, directorial commitment to um,
realism,
yeah, well, yeah, and like slow pacing, like giving us the
yeah,
whole conversation between the girls about what story they're going to act out and which character they're going to play and who's going to play it, and how they make that decision.
yeah,
All of
yeah,
that
yeah,
would took up the entire first half of that episode before Gilbert even entered the picture. So
yeah,
if in the new story, it's that's stuff like that is probably going to get lost. But we don't know
hmm,
that for sure. Getting back to
yeah.
episode 36 for a second, I will say the one thing that I really liked a lot about it was that Minnie May went to school with Anne and Diana.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah,
she.
yeah,
She
yeah,
looked so cute with her little blue dress and her ribbons and holding their hands as they walked together. And she got to put her little milk bottle behind the rock in the river to
yeah,
keep it
yeah,
cool for the very first time. Because that
yeah,
was when we first saw Anne go to school with Diana. That was like a big moment for her when she got to do that for the first time. Now we get to see another character do it. So that in itself, I would
yeah,
say, also contributes to the whole, not the theme of aging, but the theme of time passing and being unable to get that back.
yeah,
Because now it's a new
yeah,
character who's doing that for the first
yeah,
time, and Anne is older and
yeah,
wiser.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. All right, 37.
Yeah, this is the one about
Ye-
the train station
Yeah,
opening.
yeah,
I wasn't quite clear on, like, where the train station opened. I don't think it was a train station at Avonlea. I think it's a train station in Carmody, which is a neighboring town, which will allow them to get to
I
Charlottetown more easily. I don't quite
I
understand
think
all the
that make more
geography.
sense. Yeah, I think that make more sense because I remember there was a bit of a drive from from Matthew to Anne at the beginning
Yeah.
because they have to ride the horse to get back there.
Yeah, and
And
speaking of Matthew going to get her at the beginning, in this episode 37, there was a scene where a brown-haired girl, just a nameless brown-haired girl,
yep,
waits at
yep,
that
yep,
same
yep,
train station for her father to pick her up. The same train station where
yep,
Anne waited for for the Cuthberts to pick her up.
Yep.
So that was
It
another kind
was.
of mini May goes to school for the first time episode. We're seeing another character uh,
Yep.
kind of walk in Anne's footsteps.
Yep. I was a bit confused at first. I was like, is that Ed? Why? We got like the one of these review episodes. But then it just run a really nice parallel between like this one who waiting for someone, and then the train conductor, the staff who worked there, who was like, I remember there was a girl like that a few years ago,
Right.
and then it got straight to Anne.
Yeah.
Now older
Yes,
and maybe
older.
wiser.
And is this the episode where her character design really changes?
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep,
think it
yep.
is.
This is the one. This
We
is the
she
one.
doesn't have
And
her freckles anymore, dude. What the hell?
yep, yep. Because she come of age.
Yeah, everyone knows that your
Mm.
freckles just disappear when you turn 15. That's common knowledge.
Uh,
I mean, the
and
reason they get
even
rid
my
of them, I think, is because she's supposed to be more beautiful now. You know,
yeah.
Mrs. Barry makes a remark about the fact that she's so much prettier now, so they take the freckles away. Like, what? Dude, think about what girls with freckles are gonna think when they watch this episode. They're gonna be like, "Well, am
Yeah,
I not
yeah,
beautiful?
just wait
I still
until
have my freckles. I'm 15. What? Am I ugly?"
then just wait until I'm 15, and then all of the freckle is will be gone.
Ah, giving hope to preteen girls. I see.
That's even Marilla remarked a lot about how much physical change Anne has as well.
Yeah.
Like she compare about the dress that Anne first had, and we see like it's just too small,
Right.
and how she look, and actually she also comment about her behavior as well, because she not as chatty anymore.
Yeah. Like she wouldn't shut up when
Yeah.
she first came to Green Gables, and Marilla, I think, misses that about her.
Yeah, yeah. I would miss it that as well. And at first I would find that annoying. Now I miss it that as well. And I just say like, yeah, I don't feel the need to talk anymore.
Right. Well, it's interesting that conversation between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
My video file has
Right.
two versions of the subtitles, two different
Yeah.
sets of subtitles, and the English dub. So the
Right.
subtitles that I was using, I wasn't satisfied with the dialogue, the script for
I
that
see.
conversation between Anne and Marilla. So I tried the English dub and I tried the other subtitle track, the one that I'd been
Yep.
avoiding, and I discovered the subtitles are much more readable now. The one that I had been avoiding like the plague. So now I'm using
All
those.
right.
And what I learned when I watched those subtitles that I've now switched to is that she expressed like a desire not to be judged for her style of speaking, and I don't think that was clear originally when I first watched it.
Hmm.
So she doesn't. She's a teenager now, you know, and teenagers they fear the invisible audience. They think that they're always being judged. So I guess Anne has
Right.
the same fear. Perhaps not in the same way that modern teenagers have it, where it's amplified by the existence of social media and all that shit. But you know, she has a better grasp on her like her emotions and her style of speech and everything now, and she just wants to present herself in a calmer, I don't know, more thoughtful way.
That interesting. I think I got the same version that you have, because I got like my version have the English dub and two of these subtitles. I always use the alternate subtitle
So you use
to
the one
watch.
where it's the letters are white and the trim around them is black.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
I did too. I always used those, and um, it seemed to me for many
Yep.
episodes that those were the better ones, the more readable ones with fewer typos and errors. But now I've switched
Yep.
over to the first subtitle track, which is kind of italicized and the
Yep.
it's like blue and green trim around the
Yep.
letters.
Yep.
And I went online. This is a really nerdy train of thought, but I went online and I went on like some Nya comments, and apparently for the last 14 episodes of this show, the first subtitle track on this release changes its source. So it's using subtitles that were
Mm.
scripted by someone else.
Mm.
Uh, so
All right.
extremely, irrelevant information, I guess. But yeah, I
That's
mean, I
something I
could tell
want
that
to
that
keep.
was like an important conversation between the two of them, Anne and Marilla, and I just wanted to get like a different, a
Mm.
second opinion, so to speak. Like I didn't like what the
Yep.
first
Yep.
doctor
Yep.
told me, so I went somewhere else.
Yep. Yep. That's interesting. I'm gonna keep an eye on that sub as well because we only got like 10 episodes left from this.
Well, I'll tell you where it really would have made a difference. Not to skip ahead to episode
Yep.
40 or anything, but that's like depending on what subs you're listening to, or if it's the English dub or whatever. The recitations in episode 40, the elocutionist, and
Yeah.
Anne's poetry reading and all that stuff, it would make a huge difference there. The type of language that was used, and I was very satisfied
Ha.
with the first
Oh.
subtrack during
Dang.
those moments.
All
Um,
right.
but anyway, we're not there yet. episode
Yep.
episode
Yep. Yep.
37, I did, no matter what version I tried, the same, like I want to treasure my any beautiful thoughts I have, I want to treasure them like jewels. That was in every version, so that was consistent
Mm-hmm.
across all. I assume that your subtitle track had that phrase.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that's I'm not totally a fan of Anne's character design changing so much, nor of her growing up. Like I kind of feel like Marilla. I miss the old Anne a little bit, but
Yep.
she's maturing. The show is handling that well. If she comes up with that little phrase, I want to like treasure any beautiful thoughts I have. I want to keep them up to myself like jewels. Um, it's the sort of thing that she might have even said when she was 11 years old, but now it comes with a different intent behind it. It comes with a maturity.
Yep. 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 All right. So in this episode, we got the new train station at they call Camody, and one of the things that also struck me, and I think this is historical accurate. I'm not gonna agree with that. All of these citizens actually bring out the United Kingdom flag, the Czech Union, and I
I do
found that
remember
very
that. Yeah, the
interesting because
Union Jack.
yeah,
I remember
oh,
seeing that.
yep,
I think. I mean,
this was
I think
way
maybe.
before they become Canada.
Yeah. I mean, Canada is more French,
Yep,
but maybe Prince. I mean, if you think about it, Prince Edward. It's the place where Avonlea. Avonlea is a fictional town, but it exists on Prince Edward Island, which is a real province in Canada. And if you think about the name Prince
yep,
Edward, that sounds very English.
yep,
That doesn't
yep,
sound
yep.
French at all. So it's
Hmm.
possible that Prince Edward Island was colonized by Britain and not by France,
Yep.
but it still ended up as part of Canada somehow.
Yeah, because they still like half of them speak English and half of them speak French, right? So
In
I, I,
Canada
I
in
would assume
general, you
that
mean?
yeah, in Canada in
I
general.
think it's more
So
segmented than that. Like, for example, in Quebec, which is
right,
maybe, if I'm not mistaken, it's the biggest province
right,
in Canada. There are a lot of French speakers there. French is the dominant language, whereas in other parts
yep,
of Canada, English is the dominant language.
yep.
So it just depends.
Sorry, sorry. Yep. So I would say that this that is just fall into the they may be back up inland before they become Canada. So it's just what my take is. But I found that very interesting.
Yeah. Um, I did notice the Union Jack flags, and they were people were waving them because there was a big celebration when the train station opened.
Yep, yep,
So that was a major event. But for Anne, it's the reason it's so major is because it's going to allow her to get to Aunt Josephine's house more easily, where she will stay as
yep,
she takes her
yep,
exam for the Queen's Academy.
yep. I love how like all the exam took place. It's very. Oh, and we get to see Anne's real age as well.
What do you mean, her
I
real
think I
age?
take her real date of birth, her real name, and all the information about her
Oh, on
because
that little
like
thing that she gets, that little piece of paper.
yeah, because I did took a screenshot out of that.
Oh,
I think she born like on the March 13th. That's what I remember. Not sure.
March 13th. You think is her birthday?
Yeah. All right.
Ah, okay. Well, I mean, I'm willing to bet that the show, whenever it's had an Anne's birthday episode, has had it, take place in spring.
Yep.
I mean, that would be spring for her
Right.
as she's in the northern hemisphere. I know when you hear March 13th, you think fall.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, I didn't take note of that, but I assume for her age, it said 15, right? Because that's what the narrator told us.
All right. March 23rd, 1886.
Okay. Yeah. 1886. Oh, really? So that means the century has turned. If she was born in 86 and she's 15 years old, it's now 1901.
Right. That's correct. Hmm. Yep. That's kind of a big deal, right?
I guess so. I don't think we got an episode about it, but that would be a pretty big
Yep.
deal to a lot of people.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Maybe not Anne though, because all she can think about is geometry and the test she has to
Oh,
take.
OCT. Actually, all she think about is she has number 13. So
Right.
she kind of really afraid that she not gonna pass.
Yeah, I kind of felt as though her like superstition and her fear of the number 13 came and went. I didn't feel as though it was like a super important part of the episode.
Yeah, it it become it she asked us about that at first, but yeah, as it went on, I don't think that's is a case anymore. So yep.
Right. All right. Well, how about the actual exam part when when they get to Charlottetown and she's staying with? Does she stay with Aunt Josephine?
She stayed with Aunt Josephine,
Okay.
but she got picked up
Miss Stacy.
by her Miss Stacy.
Miss
But all
Stacy.
the girls, I just think as a teacher, she just done a really she done a brilliant job. She like she prepared them. She had like the mock exam to them. She reassured them that like if this keep up, they all gonna pass the exam. She picked them up. She make them do the physical exercise just to calm their nerve.
Right.
She stay at the end, and that was when like her duty is all gone. Like she already had like the last session just I think a few months ago, which I would have loved to see more because all we see is just like the narration and just like a very brief part from the show.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like the previous teacher, they actually had more screen time on when he passed away compared to her,
Yeah.
and she did a really magnificent job here.
Yeah. I think the
And
narrator kind of addresses that in saying that I mean, the narrator says there was less fuss when Miss Stacy left compared to when Mr. Phillips left, but that was because she, I can't remember what the phrase was exactly, but the idea is that she put so much more time into caring for her students, and she was so much closer to them, and their relationships were more
yeah,
secure with her, and that's
hmm,
why it wasn't like such. I didn't quite understand that because in my mind, the better relationship you have with a teacher, the more likely you are to like cry and wail when it's time
Yep,
to say
yep, yep. I
goodbye.
agree. Well,
Um, I mean, I know for example, I'm more sad when one of my students that I like, when it's time for summer vacation to start. The students that I like, I'll be
yep,
sad that I don't get to see them again. The students that I am
yep,
not so fond of,
yep.
I really will not be sad.
Mm, don't put that.
I
Yep.
mean, that's true
Uh,
for every teacher, and any teacher who does not admit that is just lying. Some kids you
yep.
just don't want to see again.
Yep. And even the results, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but she got her students at first and second in the Queen Academy. So
Right.
she did a really good job.
Yeah, and all seven
She
of
the
them pass
best.
as well. Even Moody Spurgeon, who
Yep.
was like,
Yep.
"I'm so
Yep. Yep. Yep.
stupid. I failed for sure. I don't even care about the results."
So yep, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important chapter in Anne's life because it's what bridges her time at the Avonlea schoolhouse with eventually her enrollment at Queen's Academy, where she'll be away from her family, Matthew and Marilla, and all the other people of Avonlea. So it's an important bridge. But honest, like
Yep.
all the talk about being number one or making the top 10, being worried about geometry, reciting your multiplication tape. Speaking of Moody Spurgeon, he goes over his multiplication tables out on
Yep.
the
Yep.
the steps of the exam building because he's so nervous. When all that was happening, I was just like, man, I'm really not into this. I
Okay.
like where is the focus on nature and the and social development and all of her little
All right.
scrapes that she gets into and all her mistakes, like making the cake with anodyne liniment and falling off the roof and because Josie Pye dared her to go up there and walk along the top of it, and I feel like Marilla. I just want the old Anne back. I miss the old Anne,
All right.
and I don't really care so
All
much
right.
about like it's hard for a TV show to make exams, tests in school exciting or
Mhm.
interesting. That's just hard to do. I didn't really think the show managed it.
All right. So if you're looking more than that, I think you get a bit satisfied in episode 40 because we get more along that line.
I
Is that correct?
loved episode 40.
Yep.
Loved it.
All right.
Yeah. So you predicted correctly.
Yep. Well, all right. Tell me more about the episode 40.
Oh, episode 40, we're just skipping over 39.
Well,
I have to be
we
honest,
we
I have
we
mostly negative things to say about episode 39, including there were some major production
uh
issues. Um
you're right.
some very
Yep. Tell me more
well,
about that
I don't
because
really
I
have to get into it. It's ultimately it's not that
no
important, but it was I think the least polished episode of the show so far.
I agree. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I won't get into the
But
details.
I do like the fact that like Wasi was anxiously waiting for the result, and we see that like the girls and the boys coming every single morning just to wait for the result, and then she get a bit listless as well throughout the rest of the day because like all she can think about is the result. So when she decided just to help out, just to go to the field and to help out Matthew, she actually, like kind of feel more relaxing about that. I kind of like that. I kind of like the way that she still engaging into her activity just to keep her mind off things, but like just to basically enjoy herself a little bit more.
Yeah, well, to take her mind off
So yeah,
things because that manual labor will do that to you. It'll like
yeah,
kill your anxiety. It'll kill your your brain.
Yep.
It'll just make you worn out, you know, and you won't have the energy to really obsess over anything.
Yep. So I think this is still a really good episode for me. And when she get the result is when she the least expected as well, because she was in the middle of something when her friend come in and just say like, we got the result. It's on the newspaper now.
Yeah, Diana runs over and says, "And you came in first place."
Yeah.
Yeah,
What a
she
way
she
to
spoiled
spoil
it.
the fun.
I heard you start to say spoilers. What was Anne in the middle of doing when Diana came over? I can't remember. Was she outside or
Where
was she in
was
the
where,
house?
um outside maybe, but I remember she was doing something.
Yeah,
Not really sure what she exactly what she was doing.
yeah. Well, regardless, she does get the news. Um,
Yeah,
and then they go over to Mrs. Allen's house, the pastor's wife, and she
yeah,
gives them like a lecture about you all passed, wonderful job. Make sure you're grateful to your teacher and your parents and the Lord.
yeah.
And when Anne kneels down, I think the concluding moment of that episode is when Anne kneels by her window to pray, and the narrator's like, "Ah, yes, in her prayer is thankfulness for the past and reverent petition for the future." It seemed like a little preachy. Uh, that
Yeah,
episode was a little preachy, and the preachiest moment of all was when Anne was really sad that the exam results hadn't come in,
yeah.
and somebody, I think Rachel Lind, Marilla's friend, Miss Rachel Lind, she says those damn conservatives, like they don't care about the children at all. Why aren't the exam results out yet? And Matthew's like, "So son, oh, maybe in the next election I'll vote for the Grits, the Liberal Party."
I love that. I love that. It's so off kilter, It's
Yes,
just out of characters
it's
for the
very out
show
of
for
place.
Matthew. That I can help but love it. Oh my
I mean, yeah, it's I don't really know what to say about it. It's very it seems like Takahata, he's, both he and Miyazaki have pretty left-leaning politics from what I've read over the
God.
years. So it seems like in that moment Takahata is just like speaking through one of the characters. Like the conservatives don't care about the children. You gotta vote left. Uh, but my question is like, how much does a political party have to do with the speed of an election or of an exam being graded? Does that really make any
Yeah, I have
sense at
no
all?
yeah, I have no idea. Well, maybe they control the school. They put
Maybe they have their hands like real deep in the education department or something. It's possible.
yeah. So yeah, so they control the outcomes. Like not like who they want to get, but like when the outcome gonna get out,
Yeah,
and they fail on that.
maybe.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
that
anyway,
was pretty funny.
yep. Uh, all right, episode 40 is when Anne is invited to do recite
Yes.
at the concert, and she have to wear all, I think that was a new dress that she wearing, and the necklace
Yeah, the pearl
that
necklace. Matthew goes and
Matthew.
gets it from that same store where he was trying to buy a dress for Anne earlier, I think. And that sales clerk who was really chatty and like had a lot of makeup on and stuff, who he was nervous
Yep,
around, he kept buying other things. She showed up again.
yep,
So that was amusing. But he does it this time. It's the
yep,
the narrator doesn't make much of it, but this time he succeeds. Like it's the same woman. Perhaps he experienced the same nervousness because he's not good around girls. That's part of his character. But this
yep.
time he does it. He gets the pearl necklace. He gets what he was I would have liked to see a full scene of that instead of the narrator just telling us.
I do too. I would have liked that too.
Maybe we could have gotten the bagpipes again as he mustered up his courage to ask for a pearl necklace. We hear the
Yeah.
bagpipes playing as he goes off to war at the department store or whatever. What are they? Oh, general store. That's the term. That's the term for it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, she gets the new dress and pearl necklace and all that, and yeah, I liked episode 40. Just it reminded me of older episodes where Anne kind of she has to work through her feelings about like her looks. She doesn't feel like she's beautiful, and she's not sure that she's going to do a great job on her recitation because there's somebody else who's much more experienced who goes before her, and she manages to overcome that. And it's like a fun night for her and her friends. I preferred it. It was a
And
nice break from all the studying and
and
stuff.
even like the yeah, and even like the moment before she could speak, she was really hesitant. She was like we get the feeling that she couldn't do it. I think they overreact a little. Like we get to see all the other character faces, and there was like waiting, uh, kind of like yeah, waiting for something to happen until she look through, look at Gilbert
Right.
and get all the courage
Yeah, it's
because of that.
interesting because later, I think it's when she's in the carriage on the way back to Avonlea
Yeah,
with her friends that she
yeah, yeah,
says,
yeah,
Gilbert gave me a scornful look. And so
yeah,
I was motivated to start my recitation. But we didn't see him giving her any such look. And, Jane
yep,
says, no, he didn't. You're imagining things. What after
yep.
after your recital, he joined in thunderous applause. Um,
Who is that other girl?
Jane, Jane Andrews.
Oh,
She's one of the Queen's
oh,
Academy
right.
girls.
Yep, 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 yep. All right, right, right. Yep, yep. I just beat that details because I remember that her brother is the one who take them there.
Right. Yeah, I don't think
Yep,
we
yep,
know
yep.
much about her brother. I'm not even sure he's
No,
had a speaking part at any point in the
no,
past,
he
but we
doesn't.
know that he's not good with big formal events,
No.
so he stays outside.
Yep, yep, yep.
I sympathize. I don't like big formal
And
events either.
I have the other question as well. The two girls who kind of ridicules her, like in the really most obvious way.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of pumpkin, country pumpkin today, and then I get they just show up for to raise something, what they
They
say,
raise
and
money for
then
the hospital in Charlottetown.
yeah, and then they look at Anne and say, what are you, what performance are you gonna give? I just wonder what performance are they gonna give as well because we never get to see them do anything.
Yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, we don't know what they're there for. Maybe it was to sing. We do see a shot of two women with like rosy cheeks, like a still frame of two women with rosy cheeks singing, as the narrator is telling
Hmm.
us. All the people
Hmm.
from Charlottetown were there, and their performances went off without a hitch, one after another. I don't think
Yeah.
the two people singing, I think, were older women. It wasn't those two girls, I
Yeah.
believe.
Well,
But
yeah.
it also, I think it kind of makes sense that we don't get to see what they do because they can't match up to Anne. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what they can do. So to see
Yeah.
them to see their performance, like I don't know, perhaps because they're the villains of the episode, you kind of want to see them embarrass themselves. But the point is not that they suck, but that Anne is excellent.
Yeah. That she actually to excellent that she got in core, so she got people invited back to do another one.
Yeah,
So
it was a very
that's
orderly
really
clapping session for the
yeah,
encore.
yeah, yeah,
Like I've been at
yeah, yeah,
concerts
yeah,
where people have called for encores and it's never been like uniform
yeah.
clapping at the same
Yeah.
pace.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
people
yeah,
putting their fingers in their mouths and whistling as loud as they can.
yeah, 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 and then more, and then yeah,
It
yep,
was
we do that.
a different time, I suppose.
Did you know that I think I pick up on that somewhere, but when in now in the present day, whenever like a rock star or a band get an encore, I think they get extra
Oh,
just to
like they
play
have that
that
worked into their
encore.
contract with performance
Yeah,
venues and stuff.
yep, yep, yep.
Okay,
That's what I heard. So I think that kind of makes sense as well because they still have to perform
right.
another piece. But
I imagine that only big name artists can leverage their fame to get that sort of stuff in their contract. I doubt like indie
mm,
bands have
yeah,
that sort of pull,
yeah.
that sort of influence.
Mm,
But I
yeah.
am not an expert, so I don't know.
Well, well, well. So what to expect next in the last
Oh,
10
hold
episodes?
on.
Is that gonna
Hold
be
on. Hold the phone. The best part of
all
episode
right?
40 was the carriage ride at the end
All
and
right. Or
soliloquy
can
about her satisfaction with
give up.
herself and her life, not wanting to change
Right.
anything, not wanting diamonds, riches,
Yep. Yep.
because
Yep. Yep.
just look out there at the ocean like tinged with silver. That's all you could ever want. That's all you could ever need. Um,
Yep.
I was amazed. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, I think so too. Like she reached a point where she really content of herself.
Yeah, and those thoughts that
Of
she
course.
expressed were kind of like the jewels that she mentioned in episode 37. The
Hmm,
thought,
that,
that she would want to save for herself. I mean, she ended up sharing it with Diana and Jane and Jane's older brother
yep.
in the front seat. But yeah, it was. And you know what? You know what contrast is springing to mind right now? Medalist. So Mario and I were just
Ah,
talking about some seasonal anime from winter 2025. There's a figure skating anime called Medalist where someone skates to a song where the lyrics are all about like just look inside your heart, you are all you need, spread your wings and fly, stuff like that. So compare that with Anne's speech in this episode about not needing not needing diamonds and not you know just being I mean I should have written episode 40 was I watched it just before we started recording the podcast, so I don't have any notes on it in front of my face. I
yep.
can't quote any particular lines from her her dialogue there, but I was very stirred by it. I was
Hmm,
and being older now, and the
hmm,
show kind of feeling a little bit different as a result, posed some challenges for me, and I was a little concerned about it in some of these episodes. But now, having listened to her talk about her contentment with herself, I realized the she really has matured as a character, and the show is handling that
yep.
gracefully. We're getting to see the proof of it. We're getting to hear the proof of it. Uh,
And
yeah.
and moreover, she actually still add the ad that we know. Like the ad that we see through from the first episode until now.
Yeah, she
So
still has some of the same, insecurities that we
mm,
saw in this episode. And
and even the same look. Like she really like the Green Gables, and she's even now she's still feel at home with that.
yeah, yeah, there's some line in one of these 5 episodes, I think, where she says, "Oh yeah, it's when she returns from the exams, I think at Queens. When she
Hmm,
comes back to Green Gables, she makes some remark like, this is my favorite place in the world. There's no place like it."
hmm.
Um, Yeah,
She
so
in
she feels the
Texas.
same way now that she did 4 years ago when she was brought to this place and it was like heaven to her. The possibility of
Yep.
escaping the orphanage and making a life for herself with a family was that's what Green Gables represented to her, and I suppose it still does today.
Yep, yep, true. And I would say that in this 5 episode, as in all the almost all the episode that we watched so far, Matthew he doesn't say that much, but when he say, I think all the word that he say make an impact.
Yeah,
It just the way he say it, it just like just at the right time, at the right place.
yeah. He tells Anne that he knows she's going to be number one,
Yep.
which you don't say to a kid because then if they're not number one, they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, you're a liar." Uh, but he was
Yep.
right, and when
Hmm.
she tells him, like, Matthew, I did it. I came in first. He says, uh, I knew you could do it, and I knew you would beat them all.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
nice.
he's a good dad.
And yeah, we don't see it that much as well because of the narration. But I also would love to see, like when he has an heart attack, not the heart attack, heart condition, that he couldn't get Anne to the to the Queen's
Right,
Academy,
he
and
had planned on
he
driving
was really
her.
upset about that. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
and he was
subtitles that I
upset
was
about that.
using at that point did say heart attack. But
Right.
that was probably a poor choice of words. It was probably like,
I Yeah,
he had,
heart condition.
yeah, well, just that he had a trouble with his heart. He had like heartburn, or he had arrhythmia, or something like that. I
Yeah,
doubt he had a heart attack because he would not
yeah.
still be at Green Gables. He would be in a hospital.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
we're getting regular updates, about his health, Merla's health. I fear that
Mhm.
something bad is in store.
All right. Now I don't think that Marilla gonna be anything bad. I also think that like her headache just because of the eyesight. So I keep that
Oh,
hope.
so you think the glasses are going to fix everything?
I think so. I believe so.
Well, that'd be nice. um, yeah, I wish I had notes on episode 40, but I just watched it last minute, so it would be fresh in my
No, that's
memory.
so good.
Uh, Looks
All
like
right.
mission failed because I'm forgetting all sorts of things about it. But I did really enjoy it. Overall, I mean, I have to say it was probably my least favorite group of episodes
Batch.
yet. Um,
Hmm. Interesting.
but you know,
Yeah.
now we're on
I
to Queen's
reckon that
Academy, and I'm excited. Like it's going to be a new setting, probably some new characters.
less of Marilla and Matthew, which I already feel sad.
Yeah, I wonder how often the show will check in with them back in
Yeah.
Avonlea because Anne's not just going to be away from Green Gables; she's going to be in an entirely different city or town.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wonder if she'll get letters from them, and that's how we'll learn about them, or if the show will actually cut back to Avonlea,
Yeah.
or what, what's going to happen. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. 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 We only got 10 episodes left, so it's like 1/5. We still got 1/5 of the of the show run, so anything can happen
Yeah,
in the patch of the last 10 episodes. Hopefully, nothing bad happened to them.
yeah. Hopefully not.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's when we check out now. But I still enjoy the episode a lot.
Yeah.
These
Uh,
watching them grow,
mm-hmm.
I would say it's more rewarding than watching a girl from Middle East who like who tell you that she has been growing for the last 30 episode. But this one I can see the growth much more clearer and much more rewarding.
Yeah. Well, more time is put into the characters. The show's longer,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I mean the show
Well.
is also better, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
And has much more of a focus on childhood development and less on, a particular pursuit. It's
Yeah.
more generalized, more about life, and less about sport.
All right. And at the time, as at the time of we speak now, there is a new end of Green Gables coming in a few weeks. So I think by the next time that we talk in episode, we might have watched that episode. So we will see and we will compare
Oh, will we?
how the new one look. Just like a brief one, but
Yeah, that's true. There is a new Anne of Green Gables adaptation called Anne Shirley. So the next time we
yeah,
talk about Anne, or the next time there's a YouTube upload about Anne, we'll cover the last 10 episodes, 41 to 50, and that'll be a
yeah,
couple months from now probably. So our impressions of Anne Shirley, the new adaptation, won't be
yeah,
particularly fresh anymore, or maybe they
yeah,
will be. I don't know. We'll see how it
yeah.
shakes out. But I mean, I would say overall, I think getting another adaptation is a positive thing because there are millions of people who will not watch old anime. They just won't do it because it's old. Um, and
That's just a sad fact.
well, yeah, I mean,
But
I guess it's sad. I don't feel very sad about it because I can watch the old anime, and if other people aren't doing it, well, that doesn't really have any impact on me here in my bedroom with my laptop in front of me. It doesn't.
yeah,
Those I'll never meet any of those people. But yeah, like remakes. There's remakes all the time, and good can come out of that. For some small portion of the people who watch the Anne Shirley remake, they will be intrigued to see what the old one is like, so that they can compare, and perhaps that will be their gateway into older anime series. I'm of course there will be some people like that. I don't know how many, but
I would say that the new anime gonna raise like a bit of interest in to check out this version of and of Green
yeah.
Gables, especially because it been directed by the great Takata.
Yep. Yeah. Um, I'm sure it will provide a path for some people to go down in
Yeah,
that direction. As for us, though, we're going to be finished. We're not going to be curious about the 1979 Anne of Green Gables anime. The next time you hear
yeah,
us, we will have finished it. So we'll have our thoughts prepared in a couple months.
yeah, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. Whether or not it's gonna break our like top 10 of all times, we will see. Or whether or not it's gonna I love this, and I know Pooper doesn't
I
like
know what
this,
you're
but
about to say.
I keep comparing this show to Hedy, and whether or not this gonna surprise Hedy is a question.
Yep. We'll find out. You'll have the answers to all these questions and more
Yeah.
in May of this year.
All right. All right. Looking forward to that then.
Yep. We will see you then.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye bye.